Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations unto the 144,000. Brother Kayal here, back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Lord willing, to be edifying, full 100% truth, and straight to the point. Alright, so saw this post here from first post. I'm in a news group, and this was one of the images that came in, right? They say over 60 Hillview College students who attended its foam party were hospitalized after experiencing adverse reactions from the foam, right? Now, we know this is no coincidence, right? Now, I'll be straight up honest. I don't know anything about this specific post to say, what actually went down, what was in the foam, and all these different things, right? I saw this exact post and I said, let me do a video on it. Why? Because we living in the time of the Lord's return, right? And the scriptures are going to get into is basically getting out of that mood spirit and getting into the house of mourning, right? But before I bring that precept, I want to read this one here in the book of James, chapter 4, and I'll start at verse 8 to verse 9, right? It says, draw nigh to the Most High, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Right? Because what the scripture said about a double-minded mind, he's unstable in all his ways. Right? So it's either you're with the Lord or you're not with the Lord. So it says, be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness. Why did the Lord say that? Because we're not living in a time to be laughing and giggling and, basically enjoying the affairs of this life. No. We're not here to do that, right? Because the things upon the face of the earth, we have to be serious, militant, Now, let's say, don't blow it out of proportion in the sense of where you might see us laugh in a video or make a joke or whatever it is, yeah, right? But the laughter and stuff that are getting at is, being literally in that state of mirth all the time, right? Because when you see us laughing and whatnot, right, we feeling joyful in the spirit that, hey, we have this word, and, you might get certain reactions from from certain videos you might be reacting to or doing a video on, something to that effect, right? But to say we out there like the apostles and them past the order, hey, we're not to be in past and all these kind of things, that is what that going into the mirth, right? That folly, right? So the Lord say, let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness, right? Because why? We in that time. So let's go to the Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 2. It says, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that it is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. Right? The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. So you see, the Lord, right, which ironically he was King Solomon here when he wrote this, right? So it still come from the Lord. He said, what is better to go to the house of mourning than in the house of feasting, right? Because especially when you think about it, like how IUIC and Sakari had their Passover, that is a solemn assembly, which definitely is supposed to be a time of mourning, right? And they turned that as well into a feasting and a mirth kind of celebration, like it's a fashion party and all these different things, So it's to show these men are not the men of the Lord, but I'm not here to tackle anybody at this this moment, you know. But it just goes to show that, we're not supposed to be in that spirit, right? Because again, we live in a time where everything is about to go haywire, right? So we had to be on point, we had to be observant, and be that watchman that the Lord set us up to be, right? Because when they go down to verse 3, when it says sorrow is better than laughter, it's verse 3, yeah. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better, right? Because was actually piece of part 2 as well, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay to his heart, right? Because when you look at it, right, when you're in the house of mirth, let me use back the bar analogy again. When you're in a bar and you drinking and you enjoying yourself or whatever it is, you could never know what's going on in your house. Somebody could be in your house robbing you, taking all your shit, and you don't know. You in your bar, you drinking, you taking, right? When you go home, you mad, yeah. As the scripture say, weeping and gnashing of teeth because your house empty, your house clear out, right? Now flip it back to as in the truth now. If it is, you're supposed to be focusing on the truth, and you out there in a bar or something, right? Or you doing something else, you basically in that mood spirit, then what will happen to you then? You know, it can reach to the point where we speak about in Matthew 24, I believe, we speak about that wicked servant, you know, because he's saying in his heart, my Lord, the late is coming, because it only takes a little bit, that saying, um, a little leaving the whole lump, because why? You might say, I'll take a little one drink today, you know. When you take that one drink now, bam, you might say it again, and it's just you're going until eventually you in there right through, you bounce up some old friends or a girl or something, and then that is it for you. You understand? You in there right through, you're drinking, you're doing less videos, you're drinking more, all these things, so these is things you have to think about, right? So, and I get back sick again. Pressure in the camp right now, but anyways, all praises to our washing mouth shy still. Right? So let me bring up this next precept here. Right, so I'm gonna read the post again. Over 60 Hillview College students who attended its foam party were hospitalized after experiencing adverse reactions from the foam. So as I said, this is not no coincidence, right? Everything happens for a reason, right? And as we was talking about the spirit of mirth, right? We also need time of the Lord's vengeance, right? So I want to bring up that precept. So this is Jeremiah 51:6. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul, right? Your soul goes back to your mind. So how we fleeing out of Babylon? By occupying ourselves in this word, So by doing that, your mind is delivered, right? Salakia. We're not physically out of here, but our mind is out of here. And our mind being out of here is the first step, right? It's the first step. So by us paying attention to what's going on, it's keeping our mind occupied in prophecies. So let me get that one. All right. This is 39 and 1. But now since I bring this precept, it says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies, right? So that's our main goal, to be occupied in prophecies, because we seen what's going on, right? Just Sunday that went there for banging, right? I was telling my brothers, I was saying, hey, the amount of videos I've been seeing that's getting uploaded on TikTok with Donald Trump making certain statements, passing certain legislations, and all these things. Hey, um, Big Brother Nagard really mentioned and said that hey, the thought we thought that the first time when Trump was in power would have been then when he did it, but he came out, Biden came in, and then Trump come back because he really mentioned and said we thought it was the first one, but the second time when he come back in power is when he gonna start to show you horns, and we seen it now, right? Because the amount of legislations he signed, statements he made is ruffling a lot of feathers, right? And it's gonna cause wars, especially the one that we did, me, Brother Yakal, and Brother Rai, the live that we did a couple days ago, speaking about Trump, turning his back on NATO, which is a big prophecy that we went into, right? And then the statements that he making to certain nations, they eventually are gonna turn on Babylon, as the scriptures clearly state. So, hey, that's what we have to be occupied in right now and paying attention. We don't have time to be going out party and being idle, right? We have to be occupied in this word. So it says, "Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance," right? We in the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense, right? So the Lord have a vengeance for Babylon. So he say, "Be not cut off in her iniquity," meaning to say, hey, don't be so caught up in this world where it is when you looking to destroy Babylon, you get caught up with it, right? You should be out of that. You should be seeking to be out of Babylon. You have to be mentally out of there to be physically out of there, right? The physical gotta come first and then the mental, right? Also, I was thinking about this precept here. It just came back to me. Let me see if I get it. So this is 1 Peter 4:6. It says, "For this cause for this cause was the gospel preached, also to them that are dead." Right? Meaning what? The reason for the preaching is because when you read up, let me see here. You say in verse 5, "Who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead?" Right? Meaning the dead and the alive. Right? Because quick, going back to the word quicken it, which means to make alive, right? So the gospel is what brings it to life. That's the breath of life, right? So when it say also to them that are dead, meaning what? Spiritually dead, right? So that is the reason for the gospel to be preached. The gospel was preached because why? Its main purpose is to warn everybody, right? And wake up the elect, So everyone will hear this gospel and have to hear this gospel before the Lord returns. So no one could say, hey, we did not know. Right? That's out of the question. That's why the Lord say, tell them whether they hear or forbear. So it's either you stand, you listen, you still don't believe it, or while you're passing, we say, hey, the Lord coming back, or this is the mark of the beast, or this is Esau Edom, or this is the Lord's true identity, or hey, you're an Israelite, something, you would have heard it, right? We all over the media, we flooded the media with videos, we out on the streets, so hey, everyone is gonna hear, so one way or the other, it can't be helped, you're gonna hear. So it goes on to say that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to the Most High in the spirit, right? So we in the flesh, but we had to live our life according to the spirit. Philippians 2:5 said what? Let that mind that's in a Mashiach be in you, right? So we had to try and follow after the way how Yahushua lived when he walked the earth. Now we know he never sinned when he came as Yahushua, right? He conquered sin. Of course, we sin. We still sin to this day, right? Because our flesh is weak and we're not great. As the scripture said, the servant is not greater than the master, right? We're not great as Yahushua. So we go off. But Yahushua have mercy on us. Yahushua have mercy on us, And that is why we have to be occupied in the word, because the more we in the spirit and less in the flesh is the easier it is to, be attached to the word and go off less, but if you you feed in the flesh too much, you tend to be going off more and more and more, and eventually could slip. So we had to be in that spirit, right? So verse 7 it says, but the end of all things is at hand. The end of all things is at hand, right? The end times. So all your mirth, which goes back to laughter, right? Your celebration, your feasting, all these different things, anything that's not of the Lord, all these things come into an end, right? So actually I will get a precept after. I won't quote it. It says, be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. Right? So we had to pray. Right? Scripture says pray without ceasing. So let me get that precept up into my mind. It's 1 John 2 and 15. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. Right? So the Lord tell you, don't love this world. If you do, the love of the Father not in you. Okay, you can't love Matthew 6 and 24. You can't serve God and mammon. Right? It's like you love the one or hate the other. You can't serve two masters at the same time. So that's why the Lord says, if you love the world, the love of the Father not in you. Right? Then he tell you always in the world, right? The lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, all these kind of things. It goes back to the mirth. Right? That's all the world have to offer. Right? And the Lord said what? The world pass it away. So what would be the point in investing in something where, it's going to come to an end pretty soon? Whereas with a little bit of faith, and restraint, restraint from the wickedness of this world or the affairs of this life, could carry you into something that's even more worthwhile and everlasting. Let me get that precept with Moses. This is Hebrews 11 and verse 24. It says, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Right? Imagine that, Moses, right? He refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. So you can imagine the amount of wealth he had, because if he was the son of Pharaoh or son of Pharaoh's daughter, so it's like in that term, you can say Pharaoh was his grandfather, right? Now they knew he was a Hebrew Israelite, right? But because the love that Pharaoh's daughter had for him, right, he basically got a lie, right? But we know that is the Lord set it up that way for Moses for when he grew older, to set his people free from Egypt, right? Because we know Moses, is the incarnation. I shouldn't say reincarnation because King David came after, but Salakia is the incarnation of King David, right? He is the king of Israel, right? So he refused that. He gave up all of that what he had, right, to suffer the affliction with the people of the Most High, than to enjoy pleasures of sin, right? Because of course the Egyptians wouldn't be going according to the law, such as the commandments of the Lord. They would be doing their own thing, worshiping their own gods and whatnot, right? But it also says pleasures, because for one thing, sin does feel good, because the scripture say the creature is made subject unto vanity, so it's easy for us to go off, right? But also is that you having that amount of money, fame, wealth, whatever it may be, you live in a lavish lifestyle, right? It's hard to give up that to, go and suffer with people that you barely knew, but you know within yourself and within your heart that these are your people, right? The Lord put that in his spirit, you know, because when the Lord when the rich young ruler came to Yahushai, right, and the Lord tell him, sell all we have and follow me, he couldn't do that, right? Because why? He think about the amount of things that he had. Whereas I sure where and Moses at the point in time had more wealth than him, right? But I could be wrong, I'm not sure, but it's a possibility, right? But one way or the other, they both had wealth, right? And Moses had enough faith to give up that what he had, you know, because he said pleasures of sin for a season, because he know Pharaoh kingdom not gonna last long again, right? So the world back then passed away, right? Which was what? That world goes into aeon, right? Meaning age. So that age passed away. Whereas we're living in the time now where this age gonna pass away, right? Because when you read let me get it and I'll come back to this. Read from 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? So there's a conversation Ezra and the angel was having, right? So he asking the angel, what will be the parting asunder of the times? It says, oh, when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that follow it? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were first born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, which what? Jacob pulling down is a representation of we pulling down Esau's kingdom, right? Verse 9 it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it, right? So that word they're speaking about aeon, right, in the Greek, which means age. So I say Greek, could be Hebrew, but it means aeon, right? So it's age. So that time frame is, so Esau is the end of this age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it, you know. So when I go back to the Hebrews 11 and verse 25, it says, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. You know, it's only a little bit of time. He understood that, and he know the rewards of what comes after. And then, funny enough too, Moses didn't even get to see the land of milk and honey, right? So that is to show you even much more faith that he had. You get to see the miracles of the Lord, you know, and being able to do it, right? Parting the sea and whatnot, which is an amazing feat, you know. But he never lose faith in the Lord. Since he departed, Moses could have given up and say, "We, boy." Like, let's say close to his dead body, could have said, "Wait, I leave Egypt. I had all these things to come and there and himself going to see the promised land, the Lord promised, but we, you know, and he could have cursed and, you know, caused a fret and started sinning with his lips, all these different things, but he didn't do that. You know, he didn't do that. The Lord spoke directly with Moses and constantly boosted his faith, you know. So verse 26 it says, esteeming the reproach of a Mashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. Right? So let me read down. It says, by faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Right? And that is it, He didn't fear the wrath of the king, Pharaoh at the time, you know, because it say what? Scripture say what? It's, don't fear the man that can kill the body, but fear the one that can kill both body and soul in hell, right? Which is Yahweh Shai. So when you have the most powerful being on your side, you have nothing to fear from nobody else. You know, you have nothing to fear. But hey, I hope this lesson was edifying. You know, Lord willing, at least if one person get this, understanding and the truth from this video, then hey, all praises to Abashi Shai. But hey, we live in a time where we are no time for mood, we gotta boost our faith and be in that mindset of getting out of here. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.